Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today it is warm, wet, and humid here in Chattanooga, so it's definitely a really great day for a gym session, so I'm excited to get in there. My plan for today is to climb on the new slab set that they set yesterday. And fun challenge for you all, I actually set one of these boulders, and I'm curious if y'all can guess which one I set, so keep that in mind as I go through the set. In my last video, I introduced the idea of setting an intention for your warm-up to get focused and mentally prepared for the session. So I quickly want to talk about the intention that I set for this warm-up, which is to use exaggerated turned hip positions. One thing that I know about my own climbing is that I tend towards front-facing square hip positions, and for this slab set, I wanted to make sure that both my body and my brain were ready to use a variety of different hip positions. I'm going to use this intention for the red and green tags, and then once I get to the white tag level, I'm going to go back to climbing as normal, because at that level it'll be too difficult for me to use that constraint. Onto my first white tag, I'm going to use this to continue warming up, but I'm going to lift that constraint of only turning my hips and climb it as I normally would. For those of you who don't know, I'm actually only 5 feet tall, so 5'0", and some of these moves were definitely feeling pretty extended for me. Okay, so what's happening on this one is that I feel both really extended in my arms, and then also the foot is super low. The holds that I could possibly use for my feet are all dual techs, so it's pretty hard to use them. So I don't have a lot of options for the feet. What I'm gonna do is climb up and just feel that next hold that I'm gonna be trying to go for, maybe try and do the last moves, and then I'll potentially just move on to the other white tags to keep warming up and come back to this one after. Okay, yeah, this has proven to be a little bit too intense for my first white tag, so I'm gonna move on and then I'll come back to this one. finished those other 2 white tags. They were definitely tricky, but I feel more warmed up. So I'm gonna hop back on this orange climb and try and figure out a method for doing that big left-hand move. I think the final move is a little bit of just needing to commit to. I think I'm not super comfortable on that foot I was using to get to the last hold, so just gonna take a little bit of trust and commitment. Okay, so what's tricky about this foot move is that this is where I'm putting my left foot. There's dual text here and then the texture here, and it's a really small surface area. You can see where you can actually see the rubber slipped off. So that's kind of the trick, but it seems like the method that I will use. So I'm gonna rest and try it again. Okay, that was definitely my closest try so far. I got enough height and I got on the hold, which is good. I was just moving really quickly. So I'm gonna try it again and see if I can kind of modify how much power I'm using to get there. I might have overcompensated a bit. So I'll try it one more time and then I'm gonna move on to the yellow tag. Okay, that was kind of a bust, so I'm gonna move on and probably come back to this after I get on a few new climbs. I'm not going to try this one again because the last move is just an issue of height. All right, this set is definitely proving to be pretty challenging, so I want to talk through the topic of frustration a little bit. This is something that I really struggled with in the past. When I didn't do a boulder at a grade that I thought I should be able to do, I would get frustrated pretty quickly, and it would just kind of ruin my whole session. So it's something that I've put a lot of work into, to where, yeah, I can fall, maybe feel a little bit frustrated, but be able to kind of bounce back quickly and move on from that. And so first off, the big thing is just kind of letting go of the idea of grades, especially on something like slab climbing. The difficulty can feel really variable. If you have a tricky coordination move, even if it's supposedly out of grade, many grades below your projecting level, it can still take some tries. We're not entitled to being able to flash a certain grade. There's nothing that we should be able to do, especially because these are all new climbs. How do we really know what we should be able to do? So that's one thing that helps me with that. And then the other piece that really helps me is the curiosity piece. So some of the things that we've talked about in previous videos of just like thinking about how we can solve this puzzle. It's all just a big physical puzzle, and approaching things with curiosity can really help alleviate some of that frustration. When thinking about frustration and finding climbs that are at an appropriate challenge level, the biggest skill is going to be adjusting based on where your tolerance for that frustration is. Some days we may be able to tolerate the failure and challenge a little bit more than other days. So if there is a day or a session where you find yourself getting really frustrated really quickly and it's not going away, it's totally okay to adjust the level of the climbs that you're getting on so that they are an appropriate challenge level for where you're at that day. Today I'm definitely falling a lot, but luckily I am in a headspace where I'm able to tolerate the failure and not get too frustrated with it. And like I said, this is a skill in and of itself to be able to tolerate the failure and the challenge. And it's something that I've been working on, because the more we can tolerate that, the more we can practice, the more we can get out of our practice. A lot of us think that pro climbers are where they are because they have that unlimited time and resources to be able to practice their sport, but a big part of it is that they have the tolerance to continue practicing their sport as much as they do. If I had all the time in the world to climb, I can't say for sure that I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours failing, practicing, and trying to improve. On this pink one, I made some good progress. I got to the second to last hold, and that right hand's definitely really bad. So I'm going to use that strategy of climbing up and trying to finish the rest of the climb just to see what it's like, and then work backwards from there. Okay, that was some good information gathering. The second to last hold is much better than the right hand that I'm on. I also saw that I wasn't quite able to get on top of it from the lower left foot. I'm gonna have to try and figure out how to get the height to get onto that better hold. And then I was able to figure out the final move to the finish hold. So it's really just coming down to the one move. So I'm gonna brainstorm some ideas and try it again. So one way that it's easier to think about things when it comes to grades is thinking about what's giving you an appropriate challenge level, regardless of the exact grade, that it's enough of a challenge to where you're learning, but it's not so much of a challenge that you're getting frustrated and you're not able to make any progress. So when it comes to frustration and thinking about grades, I really just like to think that about how a lot of times we're like almost never fully satisfied. If something's too easy, if it's not enough of a challenge, we're like, oh, I did that too quick, I don't feel satisfied. But if something gives up a little bit of a fight, we can get frustrated pretty quickly because we're not getting that gratification of ascending. So it's finding a balance in there, finding climbs that are challenging enough to where we're learning, we're exploring, but not so challenging that we can't do a single move, that kind of thing. All the climbs that I'm following on today are at a good difficulty level, even though I'm not sending them. I'm struggling with some moves, but I'm making progress. And one of them is a white tag, which is supposed to be 5 to 6 grades below what I can send in this gym, but that's okay. It's an appropriate challenge level for me, regardless of the grade. I'm definitely getting a lot closer on that move. I wanted to climb up and just feel exactly how I want to grab that hold because I am popping to it a little bit, and I actually was able to find a little screw hole at the top of the hold, which I'm going to use anything I can get. And then I sized up the move. I was able to pull on with my foot on the low foot, so I know that I can reach. So what I think I'm going to do is try that move in isolation a couple more times, and then start trying it from the start. Hey, not gonna lie, the foot slips are getting to me a little bit, but I was able to get the height for that move. I figured out that instead of trying to like fully meat wrap or palm that hold, if I'm able to get my fingers on it, I can get a little more out of the right shoulder and get that little bit more height. So I was able to stick it. Now I have to decide if I want to try and repeat that move in isolation without my foot slipping, or if I just want to try it from the start. And I'm kind of leaning towards just trying it from the start, because if I stick that move, I just want to finish the climb. I want it to happen from the bottom because I don't want to do it again. So as I mentioned, they only put this set up yesterday, and they normally have a setter who's 5'2", but she wasn't able to be there yesterday. So they weren't able to size up the climbs to make sure that they're accessible. So here the head setter Davis is making some tweaks to make them height accessible. All right, after some changes, I'm going to hop back on the blue climb. Take a little bit of break from the pink climb. On this climb, the only change that Davis made was moving the finish hold down a bolt hole, and it really doesn't change the movement for that last move, but it does make it more accessible for someone my height. On this orange climb, Davis made 2 tweaks. The first is that he moved the left-hand undercling up a little bit to make that span smaller. And then he also moved this right foot that I stabbed to a little bit higher to make the distance between the right foot and this right hand that I'm going to a little less extended. Again, it really doesn't change the movement of the climb, it just makes it more accessible. And then lastly, on this pink climb, Davis moved the last left-hand sloper down about 1.5 inches to make the position between my left foot and that left hand less extended. Again, really shouldn't change the climb even for taller folks. It just makes it more accessible for the shorter folks. I'm calling it good on my session there. My next planned session is actually an outdoor sport climbing day, so I didn't want to go super hard in the gym today. So the slab day was a good way to get moving, get my brain thinking without putting a ton of stress on my body. Overall, I'm happy with the session. I was able to problem solve my way through most of those boulders, and I felt like I got a good challenge from them. And just a reminder, make sure to comment which boulder you think that I set. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.